Hi, welcome back. I know 2 days in a row. I guess I'm motivated to get through this top 100. Start getting to the actually good games. These are also all good games. Anyway, thanks for coming back. I am going through my top 100 as of 2024. Last time I did this was 2 years ago, and then 2 years before that. So without further ado, number 70. We're doing 70 61 today. Number 70 is a game I own, but is not with me right now. And that is because Melissa is borrowing it. So, Melissa, I need Marvel Remix back. Marvel Remix is a game, it's a take on another game, well known game called Fantasy Realms. I prefer this one. Basically, you have a hand of cards, and very simply on your turn, you're drawing a card and discarding a card. You can draw it either from the middle or from the deck. Once there's 10 cards in the middle, game's over. Whoever has the most points in their hand wins. Very simple. Um, it uses the tag system from like Terraforming Mars and Ark Nova, other games like that, to really have these interesting combos. So, like, yes, if you are, Thor, you want Mjolnir, or if you have Thor, you want Mjolnir. But also, like, you could just go for a bunch of stealthy characters. You could go for a bunch of strong characters and stuff like that. And they come together in interesting ways. My house rule is at the end of the game, you have to tell everyone the movie that you have made. Because you always have to have at least one hero or ally and at least one villain. So you're like, okay, Forge and Colossus are taking on Killmonger here, for example, and you have to talk about like how the movie works. It's a lot of fun. I really like it. New to the list, that's number 70, Marvel Remix. Number 69 is, it was 40 last year. This is Mariposas, which is a game about butterflies, which I'm well known to be a hater of butterflies. It's not so much that I hate butterflies, I hate moths. Butterflies are like moths in disguise. We don't know this. They just like put on makeup and stuff. Disgusting. Anyway, Mariposas is by Elizabeth Hargrave. I do like this game better than Wingspan. It is my second favorite of her games. Stay tuned later in this list. Spoiling this video while we're in it. I have dust in this thing. Anyway, Mariposas. You have this very busy kind of looking board, um, but once you understand what's going on, really simple. Like you have monarch butterflies. You start down here. You have to move them up here, and then you have to move them down here. Along the way, they reproduce and die off, basically, because butterflies don't live very long. Thank God. And then there's scoring conditions in each of the rounds. So you're just trying to play these cards, move them up here, get to the where they score, get the resources so you can reproduce, and then move them back here so you get points down here at the end of the game. Um, it's really fun. It's kind of like there's not a lot of player interaction. There's a little bit just trying to race people to various different spots. Kind of calming. I really like it. That's number 69, Mariposas. Number 68 was 69 last year, so it's gone up just a little bit, and that is Trails. Trails here is a kind of a take on the game Parks. I like this one better than Parks. In Trails, you move your little guys along this path, visiting various different spots, getting these resources, which are acorns, leaves, and pebbles. What I didn't do, because I hadn't played the game yet, was I saw at a convention one time, yeah, I don't have them, these super awesome resources that they were selling. There were actually like little leaves, little acorns, and like little rock-shaped things instead of these cubes. I gotta get those. This game, it says it takes 20 to 40 minutes. That's accurate. 40 minutes would be a long version of this, a long game of this. Um, it's just, it's really pleasant. It's fairly easy to teach new people, and you're just moving along, collecting your stuff. I'm not normally a big fan of like resource management as a main mechanism in games, but I do like the fact that you move along the path and you can choose whether to go one or two spots. Sometimes you want to go faster, sometimes you don't want to go as fast. Um, Great little game here. Trails. Next, 67 is Tiny Towns. Tiny Towns was 32 last time, 23 the time before that. I just haven't played it much recently, but I really love Tiny Towns. I met the designer at the very first convention I ever went to, and he was like, "Hey, you guys want to demo my new game?" And Peter McPherson, I think his name is, yeah. Oh, it's right there. Um, and I was like, oh, I would love to, but I told them I would just go demo this other game, Eco's First Continent. Sucks, terrible game. Not that I'd ever been on the game. And I really wish I'd played Tiny Towns and learned it from the designer because I really love it. But anyway, um, in Tiny Towns, you have this 4x4 grid of your little town. It's pretty tiny. And you're taking resources based on what other people call. So at the beginning, so each person takes a turn being the caller, and they call out a resource like stone or glass or wood, and then everyone takes that resource and puts it on their grid. When you create a building in the shape of one of these things right here, you get that building. You can combine all the resources, put the nice little token on the thing. This game is stressful. You never have enough space to do what you want to do. You never have enough. The right resources are rarely ever getting called for you. You freak out. It is incredibly stressful, and it's great. I love that kind of stress. Stay tuned for another game on this top 10 with that kind of stress. Some people don't like it because of that. For whatever reason, they don't like being stressed. Ridiculous. Um, but yeah, it's great. You should try this one. I get plays really quickly too. Um, because everyone's playing at the same amount of time. It says 45 minutes right there. I think that's pretty accurate. That is Tiny Towns. Number 66 is new to the list. This is a two-player game called Rift Force. In this game, you are fighting over these five different locations. It's a location battler, and you're playing down these cards, which are all either 5, 6, or 7. And then they have various different suits, and each of the suits does a different thing. So at the beginning of the game, you draft which suits you are going to be playing with. So each side is using, I think, 4 of these suits. And here, I was going to show you, but now, of course, it's hard to find out where the actual cards are. Anyway, I won't show you. That was exciting. Um, and so you might be playing with like the fire elementals, and they like do a lot of damage, but then they also damage their own guys sometimes. Or you might be playing with the light elementals, and they heal your guys. That's a good combination with the fire elementals. So once everybody knows how to play, drafting those initial like who you're going to play with, very cool. And then, of course, there's a lot of hand management. You don't draw at the end of your turn. You only draw when you take a rest action. So when do you want to do that? You also get points when you take a rest action if you are uh, winning each of the lanes. I really like it. There's so many games that are like direct conflict, one-to-one, like head-to-head sort of thing. This is one of my favorites on that. Not the favorite, not my favorite, but one of the best. That was number 66. Number 65 is new to the list. It is a roll and write. This is my highest ranked game from Elizabeth Hargrave. And this is The Fox Experiment, coming in just a little bit above Mariposas. This is a pretty new game. We backed the Kickstarter on this one. I love Elizabeth Hargrave's games. I have all of them that have been released. I got to find a way to get Undergrove at some point because that's the next one coming out. The only two that are not on this top 100. Wait, is Wingspan on this top 100? Oh, watch me scroll down. Yeah, I said Wingspan. It was number 90. So Wingspan at 90, Mariposas at 69, Fox Experiment at 65. Yeah, she has 2 other smaller games that I own that are a lot of fun. Anyway, Fox Experiment. You are breeding foxes to be more friendly and cuter and things. It's a great theme. But in this game, you are essentially, you can't really see it from the back of the deck, but you're drafting these fox cards and then rolling dice to mark down traits on them. And so they get better. And then the foxes that you bred, which are better, you then can draft next round to be parents of a new round of foxes. So they get more and more friendly. Also, because it's a roll and write, you get to write on the cards, and you can name your foxes whatever you want. So that's a lot of fun, and you can have themes. I think when we were playing this one time, Marianne did a theme of characters from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and so that was great to have the foxes named after Buffy characters. Great stuff. Anyway, that's the Fox Experiment. Highly recommend. Number 64 is a two-player game. It was 64 the first time I did this, 77 last time, so I was, wavering around a little bit. And I own this game, and I don't know where it is, so I hope I can find it. That is Jaipur. Um, Jaipur is a trading game. It's a competitive two-player trading game, which isn't something that would normally work, but they managed to make it work. Um, you're not trading with the other player, you're trading with this row of cards in the middle, which then the other player can trade with. So it's really fascinating as to when you want to like risk it and take like a bunch of cards and have them see all the cards you traded in, or reveal if you take a bunch of camels, which are a mechanism in the game, you then have to flip out a bunch of cards from the deck, but then oh no, maybe they get spices, maybe they get gold, maybe they get silver, the really valuable resources. There's also other things like you see the person has a lot of leather in their hands and they're going to play a bunch of leather. So maybe you want to play like the one leather from your hand to get like the highest token in that. Yeah, great game. I found a copy of this at a thrift store actually. I think I sold it. But yeah, Jaipur. There is really something about highly interactive games where you are not directly attacking the other player. This one has that in spades, and I really like it. That's Jaipur, number 64. Number 63 also has that in spades. It's another two-player game. It was 40 the first time I did the list, 41 last time. This is Seven Wonders Duel. It is themed like Seven Wonders, but really doesn't play like Seven Wonders. You can see some of the comparisons, but yeah, I prefer Seven Wonders, but this is a great two-player game with drafting, which doesn't normally work in two players, but the way that they do is you're drafting from the table. And so you have these layouts here. And so if you take this card, then these ones are going to be revealed, and then your opponent is going to have more options to choose from. So you have to really pay attention to what your opponent has. If they're going for science cards, don't let them get too many pairs or else they will just win the game. The game ends immediately. Same thing with the military. They get too many military cards, they win. So there's three different ways to win the game: science or military, or get to the end and see who has the most points. Halfway through the game, usually you're like, if the game gets all the way to the end, one of the two of us, like that, my opponent or I, are going to win. And if it's your opponent, you'd be like, how can I win via science or military? Or like, what can I do to change this game state? So it's interesting when you usually reach kind of that trigger where you're like, I'm not going to win if this goes all the way to the end. How can I end it now? Yeah, really fascinating game. Great two-player game. That is Seven Wonders Duel. Number 62 is a roll and write. I think the last time I did this list might have been the only roll and write on my list. It was 33. I've since really come around on roll and writes. This is On Tour. In On Tour, you are... Here, I'll actually take something out this time. In On Tour, you are going across a map and marking down all of these numbers. So here you have this lovely map of the US. This version also has Europe on the back, which offers some other challenges and some interesting things, because here you have going from west all the way to east. Anyway, as you play the game, you are rolling these dice, and then whatever number comes up, so let's say you get a 53 here, you have to write 53 on your board and also 35. The idea is you can only write it in certain spots based on these cards that come up. But at the end of the game, whoever has the most points based on drawing a line across the map going from lowest to highest, they win the game. So you put into plan all these things, right? You start with some numbers on the board, and maybe you're like, okay, I'm going to go from like the northeast down to the south, over the west, up and back. Well, so that'll be the main thing I will do. And then, so you're like, okay, I got a 53 here. I'm going to put this down in Texas. I'll put the 35, over in like Mississippi, and we'll make them work out. But what if you never get the numbers in between? This is that other game I was talking about where this is stressful. Like, you will put plans into place and then they will go to hell. Like, your plans are just not going to work out. You kind of have to know that going into it. I know some people, I think Sarah does not like this game for that very reason. I love it. Like, that kind of stress in a controlled stress in a setting that does not matter ultimately to my life or the life of any of those people I love. That's amazing. Like, great stuff. Like, it helps you understand how to deal with stress in other areas of your life. Great. Maybe a therapist should use this. I'm not a therapist. Don't listen to me. That's 62 on tour. Number 61 is the only deck builder on this segment of the list. It is new to the list, though I had played it the last time. I think I had played it the last time. Yeah, I had, but I didn't own it at the time. I picked this up recently. This is Dale of Merchants. I only have the first version right here, but there's also the second, the third, and like the big box or something like that. Oh no, I need hair ties in this thing. Go through a lot of hair ties for a bald guy. It's always a great line. I'm just going to keep saying it. So in this game, you are going to start with a bunch of junk cards in your hand, and one card from each of the decks that you choose to add in. So it's a very modular game. You have to choose a certain number of decks depending on how many people you're playing with. So maybe you're playing with the Adapting Veiled Chameleons. So you start with one of these guys, and then over the course of the game, you will then, if you're playing with the Adapting Veiled Chameleons, you shuffle in their deck and you get all these things. You have these numbers up here. At certain points during the game, you can choose to create a stack. When you create a stack, you put cards from your hand aside of that number. So you have to start at 1. First person to 8 stacks wins. A few things about that. First of all, that's a unique way to play a deck builder. Like, that's not normally how the game works. You could get some really amazing card in your hand, and you're like, I wish I could play this, but I got to create a stack with it. You put it down. Because it's a race, it is very much a race to first person to. When you do your 8th, game's over, ends right there. As far as like player interaction, it all depends on the decks you're playing with. So this one I think comes with 6, and then I have the promo of the Systematic Eurasian Beavers, which is very weird. But like the personalities of them come through here. So you have the thieving Northern Raccoons here. If you play with them, you're gonna get to steal stuff from your opponents. You have where are the random guys? The like, what are they? The Lucky Cheetahs? I can't even see that. Anyway, why am I looking at the back of this box? It's so tiny. You choose what kind of game you want to play, especially if you have more sets than I do. I need to get the other ones, but they're sometimes hard to find. Anyway, yeah, really interesting, very different deck builder. Kind of takes a while to work your head around the strategy. I'm very bad at it. That is Dale Merchants, number 61. Thank you for watching. Happy to get another one of these out quickly, and hopefully I will be done by the end of February. That's the goal. Let me know what you think of the games. Send me a comment if you want. Yeah, but have a good day. Bye.